Okay, so this was the first ranked game that we did last week. This one had a lot of issues, mostly just we were out CS, out leveled, and things just really didn't work out. But bonus points, we did get all out of the gate really early and really fast because we wanted to set up a jungle invade right here at their bush and try and catch them out. And so bonus points for us all getting out on time. Only problem was that they were thinking the exact same thing, so while we were heading into their jungle bush, they were heading in through the river into our jungle, so that was just kind of unfortunate. They ended up getting first blood on me during this. That happens in a second. So right around the same time that we exit this bush to go into theirs is when they're heading upriver into our jungle. Go ahead, see if I can skip. No, okay, so this here is when we realize they're in our jungle. Nazadan is able to get out, even though he was bubbled up here. Like, the big problem here is I maybe should not have hooked and should have just ran. But instead, I get caught out with the Shen taunt. He gets first blood, and that kind of just starts this big problem up in top lane, because he's able to use that first gold money and get himself a Dorian's Blade. So that was pretty much the first big issue here. They were able to all get an assist on that. And so they come in and they reach level 2 bot lane way before we do. Livius is able to get into lane at a normal time, but I'm way behind. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, things were going fairly well in the beginning. But you did get a little bit out harassed here because he reached level 2 before you, again because of the assist on that first blood. I'm going to go ahead and skip to about 5 minutes, which is when the first big thing happens, which is right around here. So we've been pretty much just getting harassed like normal, but this was the big problem here is I missed my hook on the Jinx. With Nazadan's getting ready to set up a game down in bot lane, but that missed hook just really doesn't work out for us. There we go, I'm getting harassed out. I missed that hook, which might not have done anything just because I was so low level, but Nazadan's gank fails, mostly because I missed my hook and he got bubbled. Also, they've had that river warded. Their warding pretty much this entire game is better than ours, unfortunately. Okay, let's see, next thing. Oh, okay. Right, so this one ended up not working out for us. Oh. My shield came up at the last minute, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Even farther than that. Okay, so we're watching this fight. I was able to land the hook on the Jinx. I got really low, but Livius is able to pick up a kill on the Jinx, which is good. Unfortunately, the Nami's able to kill him after that bubble. Nazadan's able to clean up, so it's not as bad as it could have been. However, I'm gonna go back a little bit before this. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Evan's having a rough time, pretty much all of top lane. This Shen is stronger than him most of this time, so I'm gonna go back and see if I can play this. Maybe even a little bit further. So up in top lane, Evan's been CSing really well against this Shen. And throughout the game, you've been CSing really well against him. Unfortunately, I think it was just the experience difference early, and then later on just the gold difference from his multiple kills. But you lost most fights with him. Oh, that was that Flash Ignite I was talking about. So the Shen was just a really good player overall, but that was the second kill. He's 2-0 now, and that just pretty much keeps increasing. So he snowballs a bit off of my first blood kill, and then in top lane things just don't really work out too well. He gets another kill just now. God damn it. So he gets another kill just now when he goes to mid lane to help out here. So you can see there's a big level difference between the Sudio and the Zed, but he's able to pick up a third kill. He's 3-0 now. And if we look at the gold difference now, he's at 23 total, Evan's at 17, even though, oh sorry, that's not Evan, let me switch this around. Sorry, Evan's at 15, even though the CS difference is in Evan's favor. So Evan was CSing really well the whole time. It was just these kills that were just helping the Shen snowball. Kitty, son of a bitch, hold on. Sorry. Okay, so what was I going to go on about? Let's see, I'm going to go to 4 minutes and 30 seconds and pay some attention to mid lane. So, you were having a hard time CS and this Zed was really harassing you a good deal of the time. So you were not only under-leveled after this fight, you guys were level 4 and this is the last time you guys are the same level. He's able to harass you and out-CS you for the most part, and then the multiple, god damn it, the multiple ganks and the Shen ult. Yeah, here we go. I believe this is when this is right before that Shen ult, but he's just harassing you under turret so that you're not able to farm under turret. Right here you start your back, but you actually cancelled it. I feel like you probably should have gone back because this is when he's able to finish you off. Right here. So that was just the first kill he got on you in mid lane, but that kind of starts a lot of things. And that's the last time you guys are the same level. From that point on, he's always got at least one level on you, if not more, and then the CS difference stays pretty significant. He's harassing you out of lane most of the time. This was just that failed gank in bot lane. Next thing I want to go to is at 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And keep in mind this whole time, both Nazadan and their jungle Gragas have pretty much been just making the rounds, and you guys have been farming up until level 6. So not too much has happened in terms of ganks. You did come down once to bot lane to help us, and that ended up working out. But up until this point, things haven't really been too active gank-wise until 7 minutes and 45 seconds. If we go down to bot lane, they've been their ward coverage has been really good. They've been able to keep control of their Tri-Vision, and just due to us being harassed out most of the time, we're not able to keep vision up. You can see here, I've got my Sight Stone, the Nami's got a Sight Stone, but let me see here. I'm gonna go ahead and start play. We're actually doing pretty well farming and harassing against them, but I am not getting my hooks. We had a couple of them later on that were really good, but unfortunately our lack of vision, the Gragas starts camping bot lane right around this time. So you can see he's starting to head over to bot lane, and we have no idea that he's going to be coming. So I really should have kept warding. Most of our wards are focused in lane and not in their jungle. So if you watch here, he's able to land that hook, but yeah, so lack of vision control, we didn't see that Gragas coming, and that could have been easily prevented. At this point, Jinx just turned level 6. She's able to harass you a bit under lane, and I actually think, yeah, she tries to ult you and misses. And you end up heading back at that time, I think. You stay here for a couple of creeps and then end up heading back, I think. But that was just the start of the Gragas pretty much camping our lane, and a lot of it's just due to poor vision control, which is my fault entirely. So that's something that needs to be worked on, is just keeping our vision in the lane up. Next thing I want to go to is 9 minutes, 10 seconds. That was pretty much, yeah, right about now. So I'll go ahead and start that. I'm able to get back into lane, and I think what starts this is we get a pretty good hook. So they bubble us, harass us a bit. But you can see Nazadan's heading down the river. They have it warded, but I'll go ahead and get back to it. Okay, so Nazadan's heading down. We know he's coming, so we start setting up. So I'm able to land a good hook on the Jinx. Get this started. Shen ults, but it doesn't do anything because we're able to kill her in time, so that was good. Possibly, we might have just wanted to do dragon at this point, but we didn't, and that's to our loss. We actually take no dragons this game. So that may have been something we might have wanted to do, especially since the Gragas went back. We weren't aware of that, but he wasn't there. However, mid at this time, Zed's just been pushing and farming this whole time. You can see the CS difference between him. You're at 37 and he's at 86. And it pretty much stays about this big of a gap between you guys. He's almost got double your CS at almost all times, and this was pretty much the reason he's able to win every fight, is you just don't have the items and he does. So I think at this point maybe Katarina might not have been the best pick for this. I know we were discussing this and that in theory it should have done pretty well, but I think he was just harassing you and zoning you a little too much, so your CS suffered because of that. I'm gonna go ahead and head up to top lane because this was a really close fight between you and the Shen, Evan. I think before this he had won every single fight. He's 3-0. This fight was pretty close though, and this is right around when you start being able to fight against him, I've noticed. Really close fight. He ends up backing out. And I believe he comes back into lane and you try and kill him once more. You have more health than he does at this point. But this was just really close. You may have just wanted to auto him once more, but that was a pretty good fight between you two though. But now he's 4-0, he's working on his Cinder. And that point on, he just kind of becomes unstoppable. He comes down to bot lane and is able to pick up another kill later. And he was the big problem in this game. So, next thing I want to discuss was at 11:47, I'm going to keep an eye on bot lane. Because this was a fight that was going fairly well for us, but the Shen came into play, so I'm going to go back to the defense. Okay, so let's just keep an eye on bot. So we're able to hook the Jinx, kind of start everything. Jinx uses her ult and is able to drop me really low and finish me off, but this was going pretty well until the Shen ulted and she was able to get that double kill on you. So now the three of them are all down here. I believe they took Dragon after this, but let's go ahead and see.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
But yeah, that Shen ult screwed us a little bit. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you would have been able to finish off the Jinx and probably get out of the way of the Nami, so it would have been 1-for-1. but Shen was able to ult down, and they're able to get a double kill on Dragon off of this. Now, one thing I wanted to note was we have no vision at all on Dragon. The only vision we have is closer to a bot lane. This was my fault. I definitely should have been warding a little bit further upriver, especially since mid was being pushed the entire time, so Zed was able to roam. This would have benefited not only just Dragon control, but also bot lane. But I'm going to go back a little bit. If we keep an eye on mid lane, Zed's able to kill you and think this is just due to items again. He just outdamaged you and then was able to get out. Nazadan comes in from the side here trying to kill him and ends up chasing him for a bit right over where they're doing Dragon, but he's not aware that they're all there. I'm not sure if you were or not, but we have no vision control, so I'm just assuming you were not. Because when you head back in this direction, you pretty much walk over to where they all are, and they're able to get one other kill on you. So they're able to get, due to I think a lack of vision, they're able to get that, the double kill down bot and the kill in mid, and at this point every fight pretty much goes that way just because we're under-leveled or we don't have the items. So next thing I want to go to is, here we go, 14 minutes. Down in bot lane again. So they're going to get right back into lane. I think my LSI just bugged out a little bit, but here we go. So we're doing all right. But yeah, here we go. So we start this. I'm able to land a little more hooks as the game goes on, but most of our engages suffer because Shen ults up. I'm able to snag her, start the fight, but Nami lands a really good bubble on us, and we're unable to put out damage for a long time. So I'll go back just a little bit, and we can watch that again. Because this was going pretty well until both the Nami ult and bubble landed at the same time, and that was just too much extended CC for us to do anything, and we just ended up eating all that Jinx damage. So we'll watch this once more. So we're able to get the hook on her. She goes down relatively fast, but then this entire time we're just standing there taking damage. And then Shen's able to ult down as well. They're able to take our turret at this point. Shen ends up going back and goes straight back to top lane at about 15 minutes. Okay, so she flash taunts you here. You're able to get out. You guys fight a little bit, and this one was fairly close too. He taunts you again. Sorry, not close. This is not a close fight, but one thing I did notice here was running away from the turret. Maybe you might have been able to get out if you were to run back towards the turret. If we watch that again. Right at this point, instead of running back towards the bush, possibly just keep running to turret instead of turning the other way. But at this point, he had enough health, he could have turret dived you, so I don't know if that would have made much of a difference anyway. And at this point, the only couple things that happen is bot lane. We end up giving them a couple more kills at about 17 minutes. This one, I'm going to go back a little bit. This fight was actually alright for us. I missed my hook though, and that's what's the problem here. So we have, let me go back. Nazadan's at blue, and you guys actually start heading down to bot lane, but right at about 1640. so I'm not very good with the camera control. But right here, at about 1640, I missed my hook on the Jinx. You guys were all here, pretty much ready to start a fight down in bot lane, and I missed that hook. Which means that when we finally do engage here, I flash, miss everything, and we're not able to hook them once more to start that. So my missed hook, I feel like, was the reason why that didn't go through. Nazedan and Vesuvio actually start heading back, whereas you and I, Livius, end up staying here. We probably should have headed back as well. So you're able to get out. So I was the only casualty in that fight, which was pretty good, because you're still able to get out, but we overstayed for sure, and they were able to all rotate down to bot. We already knew the Gragas was bot, because you guys were kind of hanging around Dragon. So we knew he was there. We should have headed back, and we didn't. And that's pretty much close to the end of the game, pretty much that whole time. Zed's been pushing mid non-stop, and you can see there's a big level difference between you two. He's 12 and you're 10. And this is just because, again, he's out farming you. And let's see. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, you can see the CS difference here, and the gold difference is pretty sizable. So if we had the Zhonya's like you were trying to build, I think, then that might have gone differently. But again, this was just a big gold difference problem. Then at 19 and 35, down in bot lane, this is pretty much the last thing to happen, is we have no vision again on Tribush. They've had it pinged most of the game. So either way, we still should have had some vision there. But Gragas is able to head down to bot lane. He dashes through my play. I end up dying. Big surprise. And at this point, that's pretty much it. We end up surrendering a few seconds later. And that was pretty much the whole game. I feel like the first blood on me made Evan's lane particularly difficult. Bot lane, we had some pretty good engages, but they all failed one way or another. I think their CC was better, and also their vision was much better than ours. And that's something I need to work on. Gragas just ended up kind of staying bot most of the time, so we knew that he was camping us. We should have kept the vision up, but we didn't. Mid lane, it was just a CS problem. He was harassing you and zoning you, so it made it really difficult for you to CS, and then the gap just grew from there. So other than that, Nazedan, you were doing pretty well with the ganks. They didn't do too well for one reason or another, mostly just because they had better vision than we did, but you were doing pretty well. That's pretty much all I had to say about this game. If you guys have anything, put it in the comments below so we can discuss this, but that's pretty much all I got out of this one. This was just not good. Out CS'd, better vision than us, and pretty much out-leveled us at most points in the game, so. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording.